A little less than a month ago, I made a video about Anthony Davis and how he had failed to live up to the expectations set for him after the 2020 title run. Well, almost as if it was clockwork, AD immediately following that video jumped up his averages from 23 a game on respectable efficiency to 31 a game on insane efficiency. So the point is, I am the reason that Anthony Davis is playing better. Actually, the point is Anthony Davis is back, and that's awesome, and let's talk about it. Real quick before I get into the video, I've tried to stop pausing the video to do promo stuff, but my videos are not getting pushed in the algorithm recently. I can tell because my click-through rate is the same, but viewership is lower, which means YouTube's just not recommending my videos. So if you could drop a like on this video to help it perform a little bit better, that would seriously be much appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's get into Anthony Davis. I glossed over them real quick in the intro, but let's just take a quick look at those stats again. On top of his efficiency and point production jumping up 8 points per game and increasing his true shooting percentage from 59% to 68%. He has also increased his rebound average by 4 a game, and while he's only increased his field goal attempts by 1 a game, his free throw attempts have nearly doubled, which is a huge catalyst in that added efficiency. That's not to mention the fact that he has also looked even more engaged and talented defensively, not to suggest that to start the year he wasn't looking good defensively, but he's right back in like defensive player of the year conversations, which we haven't seen over the last 2 years, primarily due to injury, but it is worthy of note that he's playing like that again. Another thing that has dramatically helped Anthony Davis in getting back to the old version of himself is that he has fully embraced playing the center position. He is almost a full-time center at this point, which is really helpful for the Lakers' spacing. Now, I do understand that even with AD at center, the spacing is still suboptimal. But even with that being the case, it's significantly better than if, say, Damian Jones is out there on the floor with him. So by actually playing center, he is allowing the Lakers' spacing issues to become increasingly less bad. They're still one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league, but they could definitely be a lot worse, and him playing that position has helped in that regard. And spacing benefits everybody, but it especially benefits interior players. So the fact that AD doesn't have to worry about Damian Jones's defender in the paint means that he is more often finding himself in one-on-one situations around the basket, which are a lot easier to capitalize on than if the paint is packed with other big men. He's also been taking less mid-range shots than in years prior. He has cut his long two-pointers from 16 feet to the three-point line completely in half in terms of what percentage of those shots are the shots that he's taking. He is shooting 3% less shots from 10 to 16 feet, and he has also reduced his three-point attempts. Overall, Anthony Davis has just been way less of a jump shooter than he has been prior, especially since 2020, and that has resulted in him primarily being an interior scorer, which he already was primarily that, but it always seemed like he wanted to be a jump shooter even when he wasn't. So now he's embracing what his actual skill set is, which is finishing at the basket, and he has turned some of these jump shots into either shorter jump shots or push shots and floaters in the lane and things like that, which he's a lot more efficient at and are overall just better shots. So AD has dramatically improved his shot diet in a way that optimizes his skill set to the fullest extent, and that is why he has posted incredible efficiency along with scoring 30 points per game. AD is playing like the interior threat that he could have always been and has shown to be at times. Not taking these jump shots or shots off of the dribble, he's still doing it a notable amount, but much less than he used to. It's just resulted in him being truly a big man again, and he's finding himself in the right place at the right time often, getting easy looks as a result of that, or bully balling his way inside, and very often that bully ball is resulting in free throw attempts, which is another area where he had dramatically fallen off. I cannot stress enough how significant getting to the free throw line is to being a top scorer. If you're not going going to get to the line, it's very hard to crack a 30-point per game threshold. And Anthony Davis is up to nearly 10 free throw attempts per game, and he is knocking them down at that. So getting to the line more, making those shots, it's just a simple and easy way to put more points on the board. And now that he's finally being aggressive and playing the proper position and focusing on the interior, it's just everything is culminating in more efficiency and easier opportunities. And it'd be easy to suggest that he's been more quote-unquote aggressive just with his shots in general, but he's only taking one more field goal attempt per game to increase his averages by 8 points per game. So it really is just entirely changing the shots that he was taking, not taking more of them. If anything, I would actually suggest, based on how AD has been playing, that he should shoot the ball a couple more times, because frankly, with how good he is right now, 18 field goal attempts per game just ain't cracking it for me. So if anything, we could see an even better version of him going forward. This, of course, all culminated in a really big game last night that inspired me to make this video versus the Milwaukee Bucks, where AD outperformed Giannis Antetokounmpo, though it was by a mild margin. And I would be remiss if I did not quickly just complain about how everyone on Twitter suddenly decided that Anthony Davis was better than Giannis because of this one game. Basketball discourse is just going to be in the toilet for the rest of my life, apparently. There's no hope of recovering it. But regardless, the fact that AD played so well that he outperformed a two-time MVP and a champion and a player who's been better than him for sure since 2020, it's a pretty huge deal, and it's really indicative of the strides that he has made. AD was all over the place on both sides of the ball in that Bucks game. He did hit a couple of timely jumpers, but again, was primarily just attacking the basket, and mind you, he was doing this against the best interior team in the league, with Giannis guarding him and Brook Lopez on the low block ready to swat his shot. He managed to dominate the paint against the hardest paint in the league to dominate. He had 44 points and 10 rebounds on 67% shooting, getting the win against a now fully healthy Bucks team because this was Chris Middleton's first game back. If you want to hear some more thoughts about that game, right after this video, I'm recording a video about that game in totality, and that'll be over on my second channel, and it'll be up before this one, so go check out that video and go subscribe to my second channel if you have not already. But now that we have acknowledged how much better Anthony Davis has been playing, that really leads us to two important questions. The first one, how sustainable is this? And the second one, if it is sustainable, what does this mean for the Los Angeles Lakers both in the present and in the future? Well, unfortunately with AD in the last few years, he has shown us pretty much nothing but inconsistency. So that does lead to concern that that inconsistency will rear its ugly head once again. However, at the same time, this does feel like the first time in a while where he's been able to get any consistency under him to begin with. And that has subsequently resulted in his current play. So I would say it's kind of a coin toss determined entirely by his health if he's going to be able to sustain this. I could very well see him getting hurt again, coming back from said injury, and then just being the disappointing version of himself again. At the same time, this also feels like a very substantial effort on Anthony Davis's and the Lakers' part for him to be different. The change of the shot diet, the change of the position, the embracing of playing that different position, the aggressiveness that he has displayed, the willingness to play through contact. All of it seems like a very deliberate decision from Anthony Davis. So it seems as though he's going to continue to make those decisions deliberately. It really feels like when you're watching him right now that he has fully tapped back into the 2020 version of himself, or the Pelicans AD that we all knew and loved. So I would say injuries are always going to be a fear, but this run has me more confident in Davis than I have been since 2020. Now, as for the second question, what does that mean for the Los Angeles Lakers? Well, AD being at this level means that they're kind of back on track for what the original plan was with the core of him and LeBron James. As I mentioned in my video critical of him, the vision for AD going forward after 2020 was for him to be the best player on the Lakers, while LeBron took a little bit of a backseat as he aged. AD being the superstar superstar has become even more necessary now that LeBron is definitely taking that backseat whether AD is there or not. So he's finally stepped up, and that means that I'm more confident than ever that the idea of just waiting out till this offseason, signing a bunch of role players, and hopefully putting this squad back together to similar to what it was in 2020, but hopefully with a little bit more depth, I do think it's possible that that can be a contender again. It's already resulted in winning basketball. They are 7-2 in their last 9. So yeah, they have been winning basketball games this way, and I think there is an avenue where this play from AD can eventually result in a championship level roster around him. AD might very well be back, and if he is, it is absolutely massive for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's still not better than Giannis though. Can you please stop saying that? It's very annoying. Anyways, shout out to Rudy for editing this video. Again, if you could drop a like on this one because the algorithm has not been in my favor because I was a little inconsistent in November, I would really appreciate that. I don't like asking for this shit, but frankly, it's kind of scary when your videos are just straight up not getting recommended to people when they normally would be. Anyways, that is it. Goodbye.